Hey, hello, church family. Maybe some of you were not able to join us this last Sunday to hear the presentation of vision that we have at Valley Point Church, of a partnership with New Hope Spokane Valley, the Marshallese Church. So I'm going to briefly try to summarize it for those of you who weren't here. First of all, Marshallese, Marshall Islands, is located between Hawaii and Australia. There's a group of about 1,000 islands where the people of the Marshall Islands live. They right now there's about a population of 60,000 people living there. But part of the history of the Marshall Islands is back in the late 40s to early 60s. The United States used some of these islands for nuclear testing, which honestly has made it radioactive, nuclear exposure, all those things. And so there now exists, because of that, a compact of free association. What does that mean? The people of the Marshall Islands can live in America without becoming immigrants. They're an associated state. And so there are another 30,000 Marshallese people living in the United States right now from the Marshall Islands. Yes, they're living here and they're learning English and their kids are dual citizens, but their heart language, their culture is still Marshallese. And when they come here, they're looking for Marshallese communities and Marshallese speaking churches. Interestingly enough, Spokane has a very large Marshallese population. Thousands are living here in Spokane. I've been told that the number one language kids speak coming to our school districts, not English, is Marshallese, more than Spanish, more than Russian. And so New Hope Spokane Valley Church, which is pastored by Freddie Jokler. You know Freddie, he's been on our worship team for about 6 months, singing from time to time. This church is one of only two Marshallese churches here in Spokane that is ministering to these thousands of people who speak Marshallese here in the greater Inland Empire. This church was founded around 2013 by Freddie's father and has been meeting 5-6 years at the Intersection Church until about March of this year. Right when COVID began, their relationship at the intersection ended. And so they have not met physically for 7 months. Freddie began attending here, serving on our worship team, as you know. And then sadly, you might remember that back in August, Freddie's father went home to be with the Lord. And so Freddie has become the lead pastor of this Marshallese church for the last couple of months. And they have been live streaming for over, I think since July in our fellowship hall downstairs. They have not met physically, but they're still doing Facebook Live worship services. In fact, one of their services that I looked at, August 30th, I went the next day and looked at it, and it had over 1,000 views. So they're reaching Marshallese all over the world with their worship services. Just about a week or two ago, they had a worship night right here where I'm standing, and someone came to Christ. Well, over the last 6 months, we have been praying. I've gotten to know Freddie, his heart, his character, and we've been praying about a partnership between his church and Valley Point Church. Let me give you a couple of dates so before I share with you what that partnership will look like, because we're going to want you as a church family to be involved. First of all, we're going to have a formal approval of this on December 1st. That's at our annual meeting where you'll vote to approve the budget, some other items, but also approve this partnership with a 6-month grace period. Anytime you make a big decision like this, you want to kind of allow a little grace period so that if it doesn't work out for one side or the other, they can kind of say, hey, it's not working out. But we're not believing that that's the case. We also want you to have the opportunity to hear Freddie's heart question. He had a difficult time speaking Sunday, but he's great in a Q&A setting. So I want you to be able to come this night, Wednesday, November 18th, to our town hall meeting. We'll go over the budget, and we'll also have a chance to, I call it the Grill Freddie night. We can grill him with questions. Our pastors have been grilling him for quite some time. For 6 months, we've met with him a few times. Our missions team has met with him. All of our leaders are in agreement that the vision is not just for us to rent space to New Hope Spokane Valley, but that New Hope Spokane Valley would become a part of our church, they would become Valley Point Marshallese. Now, what does that look like? First of all, it means that Pastor Freddie would come on staff at our church. Uh, just like Pastor Nick is full time, just like Pastor Anthony is full time, just like Becky, even though she's not a pastor, is still full time. But their jobs are to run certain ministries in the church. Freddie would come on initially part time, but his primary job would be to be the pastor of Valley Point Marshallese. Yet he would serve as our sixth pastor on our pastoral team, joining the five of us that exist now. We would pay him that part-time salary. You say, well, where's the money going to come from? Well, the Marshallese congregation is also taking a leap of faith. They are going to start giving their offerings, if we approve of this partnership, to our church. All of their money will come to Valley Point Church. The goal, the hope is that the offerings would be enough to pay for Freddie's part-time salary. If it's not enough, it's not like we're going to, take it out of his salary or something. This is a ministry. This is a mission. We're here to support believing in the advancement of the gospel through this church. But if it's more than we receive, then that money will either be set aside for the Marshallese ministry, or maybe we can increase Freddie and eventually bring him on full time. He has another part-time job that he would love to release and be able to be in full-time ministry if he could. But just as we're taking a leap of faith in making them part of our church, they also are trusting us, giving all of their resources to Valley Point Church. There would be some shared facility use items. Basically, Sunday morning would continue. They would be Valley Point Church. And then Sunday afternoons would become Valley Point Marshallese. Around that, we'd have to schedule different things, We got a big facility, and there aren't many times that we need, that we're going to have too many conflicts. But we're just going to need to communicate well, because instead of having two ministries sharing our facility, we're going to have three. Valley Point Church, Valley Point Learning Center, and Valley Point Marshallese. And our goal, and here's my heart, this is important that you understand this. We don't want it to become an us and them issue. We don't want it to be, well, the Marshallese church was doing this. No, our attitude and our heart is that in time, we will understand that this is all us. The Learning Center is us. Valley Point Marshallese is us. And we want to try to find ways to do things to bring the churches together over time. Freddie will continue to serve on Sunday morning from time to time, leading worship, maybe giving testimonies and praises of things that God's doing through the ministry of Valley Point Marshallese. We may do some youth events or children's events or outreach events or potlucks or things together. You might see Marshallese attending our services from time to time. I might pop in on the Marshallese service, even though it's all in Marshallese and I only understand like 2 or 3 words. It's still fun to see and to experience worship in a different language. And the bottom line is we're going to bring them under the umbrella of Valley Point Church. They've not had an official 501c3 or any type of organization. And just as the Learning Center is under the umbrella of our church, that's what we're talking about with Valley Point Marshallese. They would literally become a part of our church just like the Learning Center would. Now, there's lots of questions, lots of details that we have thought through, but I don't want to put them into this video. I want to keep it brief. But you can pick up a copy of a budget in our foyer, look at some of those details. You can come to the budget town hall meeting on Wednesday, November 18th. Here's the dates again to that. Wednesday, November 18th, 6:30 with Pastor Freddie. And come for the final approval of this on December 1st. Again, everyone that I've spoken with is excited. We know that there are risks. We know it's going to be a lot of work to bring this church into a marriage, shall we say. But ultimately, we truly believe this is the work of the Lord. This isn't something that we've done. It's something that God has put before us. And I'm excited for the vision of Valley Point Marshallese, the opportunity for us at Valley Point Church to reach more people with the gospel right here in Spokane. So be praying about it. Contact me, Jim at Valley Point Spokane, if you have any questions. God bless you. Thank you.